Welcome to sacrament meeting.
I'd like to hear my testimony.
Oh, man.
That's what I feel like right now.
Yeah, speaking into the microphone.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh, man. You know what's so funny? I realized when I was listening through my episode from last week that I kept going like this.
I did notice that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how to fix that.
Just don't do it.
All right, great, excellent tips here from Sammy.
I mean, I've never podcasted before. This is my first appearance.
I know. Sammy, you're my very first guest ever.
This is very exciting.
How do you feel?
I feel excited. I love listening to the sound of my own voice.
So this is perfect for you.
It is. I used to hate it, but ever since I realized I'm the funniest person in the world, I love it.
There we go.
I rewatch the TikToks I make over and over and over again because I think I'm maybe a little self-obsessed.
That does not surprise me. That's okay, though. Sammy is my very first ever guest. She's been begging me to, ever since I told her that I was going to do a podcast. She has insisted on being my very first guest.
Well, like I said, love hearing the sound of my own voice, so this is right up my alley.
Yeah, so she's here. And she gave me a good compliment when she listened to my first episode. She said that she was expecting to cringe the whole time, and she didn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like that means we're off to a good start.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's gonna be just great.
Awesome. All right, well, Sammy, thanks for being on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, of course. I expect to be a regular guest here.
Perfect. We'll have you back.
Perfect.
Do you want to start by giving us a little introduction?
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Abby's little sister. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently in college. I go to Southern Utah University in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, so Sammy, you'll be in Alaska in a month.
I'll be in Alaska in exactly a month. I'll be there for 3 months, and then I'll be back to school.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to be a therapist. I'm going to go to grad school, get my doctorate.
Solid.
So you could say I'm really smart.
One could say.
I did just take a final and only missed one on my final.
Wow.
So.
Sammy is certified genius.
You could say.
You could say Sammy is a certified genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're super excited to have Sammy on.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty awesome. We've got a lot of good things to talk about today. I wanted to start talking about something I mentioned yesterday to you on the phone.
Okay.
My coworker, he did not know who Jason Derulo was.
Jason Derulo.
And immediately every single person I've told has gone, Jason Derulo.
Yeah, I did that exact thing yesterday.
I know.
How does your coworker not know who Jason Derulo is?
That's what I said.
He must live under a rock.
That's what I said. I asked him, I said, did you go to any dances in junior high or high school? Because he's like a year younger than me, so he would have listened to the same exact music I did.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I didn't go.
Okay, well, there you go.
And I was like,
live under a rock.
And I was like, did you listen to the radio? And he's like, no.
Oh, so I guess that makes a little more sense, but still.
But it's Jason Derulo.
How could you be a person in this world and not know who Jason Derulo is?
I know.
Even I know who Jason Derulo is.
Even Sammy knows.
20.
And Sammy didn't know who Enrique Iglesias was.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know who that is, I'll be honest.
Which leads me into my next thing I wanted us to talk about. I'm a millennial.
I am definitely a Gen Z. The definition of Gen Z, think of that, and that is me.
And the fact that Sammy doesn't know who Enrique Iglesias is.
Yeah, but you
can be your hero, baby.
I bet you wouldn't know half of the people that I know, though.
I know,
like
but
Gracie Abrams and Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah, but I feel like we're not that different.
But there's a 6-year difference between us.
I know. So
That's a lot of time.
Do you want to tell us what you think our biggest differences are between you and me?
I think I'm hilarious.
Okay, well, that's a personality thing.
Oh, you mean like Gen Z and...
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about us as people.
I mean, we can get into that later.
Okay. I don't know, like, you're not as invested in, like, social media, I feel like, as I am.
Yeah, I don't have a TikTok.
Yeah, you don't have TikTok. Your humor is different.
Very different.
I don't know, you listen to different music. I don't know, I feel like a lot of it is just, like, differences in our personalities, too, though.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest difference is, like, social media and the things that we consume.
Yeah, we do consume a lot of different content.
Yeah, for sure.
Sam's not quite into the self-help podcast.
I get all my self-help from TikTok.
Yeah. And I get all my self-help from podcasts and reading books about it.
I listen to podcasts, but not the same way you do.
No. It's just we have differences, and I am 6 years older than you.
Yeah.
You're 20 and I'm 26.
I'm not really focused on that self-help kind of thing right
You'll
now.
You'll get there. I'll
get there, but...
However, we are wearing pretty much the exact same outfit today.
Okay, not true. It is very similar.
It's pretty. We're both wearing wide leg
sweat
like pants, a cropped shirt, and like a flannel.
Yeah, it is actually pretty much the same.
And we did not plan it.
Yeah, I am wearing my Birkenstocks Bostons, though, that I got before everyone else did. I would like everyone to know that I'm cooler than them.
And I am wearing my Vans.
So, very different vibes.
We're very different. And
yeah, I feel like it's like a similar outfit, but in our vibes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do think we have a lot of similarities, though, even though we're 6 years apart.
I mean, we are sisters.
Yeah.
So
what do you think our biggest similarities are?
we sound the exact same.
We do. I was thinking about that.
I'm
I'm worried people weren't going to be able to tell the difference between us.
We're going to have to be like, hi, this is Sammy speaking.
Hi, this is Abby speaking. I know.
Yeah, I feel like that's a super big similarity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm being put on the spot, but we look the same.
We do look very similar. Do you feel like you got your entire personality from me being your older sister?
No. Absolutely not.
Do you feel like I informed any of your opinions?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Well, I was thinking about that because I knew you were going to talk to me about, like, TikTok and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, I think TikTok was a little bit of the starting, or no, you were more of the starting line of, like, some of my beliefs and the way that I see things, but I think TikTok really launched that for me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I definitely think you were the starting baseline of that. I don't know, I feel like when you were in high school, I was, like, kind of oblivious to the world.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any... I don't know, it's hard when we're so far apart, but, like, we were in such different stages of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Growing up.
What do you remember about our relationship growing up?
Honestly, I don't really remember anything about growing up, so...
I mean, me neither.
So, if we're being honest, not much. What was the question?
How do you feel like you viewed me as an older sister when you were younger?
I don't know. I just, like, I feel like we didn't have much of a relationship when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like you were too cool.
Yeah, no, when I was thinking about this, that's one of the things I wrote down, and I think all three of my siblings will attest to this. I was kind of mean.
Yeah.
As an older sister.
A lot of what I remember is being your little slave.
Which you have since picked up from me.
Yeah, that might be the biggest personality trait I picked up from you, if we're being honest. I'm not nearly as bad as you are, though.
No. That's what happens when you're the oldest, though. Every single oldest sibling out there mastered the art of getting your younger siblings to do things for you.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember that, and you, like, always trying to get out of things. I think I did learn that from you, though.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of, like, helping unload the car.
Yeah.
Like,
I was pretty good at that.
Yeah, you were.
I was pretty helpful as the oldest. I feel like it's just...
the oldest sibling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you feel like you have any older sister trauma that you remember? We've talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think so. Like I said, I don't really remember anything from my childhood, so it's, like, hard to really say.
Which is probably a good thing if there's not anything that you remember.
Yeah, there's not really anything specifically that I remember, but I don't know. The biggest trauma I have is from Lucas.
from our youngest sibling.
He bullied me, so we're good now, though. Don't worry, everyone.
Yeah.
We're buddies. Except I asked him to go to breakfast with me this morning, and he said no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rude,
so,
Lucas, if you're listening.
My feelings are still hurt. I was trying to set you up on a date with Cole and Emma. We were trying to do a sibling date, and you didn't want to come, and now my heart is broken.
Oh, no. Do you remember at all the only thing I really remember from our relationship growing up, I feel like we were never like adversarial with each other.
I don't think so. I definitely think we were more adversarial with the brothers.
With the brothers, yeah, because I'm the oldest, and then there's a brother between me and Sammy, Tanner, and then it's Sammy, and then Lucas. And so me and Tanner are 18 months apart, and Sammy and Lucas are
3 years
apart. 3 years apart, and there's a pretty big gap between
me and Tanner.
You and Tanner.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say one day I'll have Tanner or Lucas on here, and they'll probably have lots of sister trauma.
Perspective.
Their own perspective.
Yeah. I don't know. I think me and Lucas definitely butted heads the most because we were a lot closer. And, like, we were more in the same stage of life. Like,
yeah.
We did Center Point together and stuff like that.
Which Center Point was you guys doing musical theater stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So.
You guys had a lot of similarities in terms of things. You guys spent a lot of time together because you had a lot of common interests.
Yeah.
Me and Tanner didn't really have a ton of common interests that overlapped with each other. We both did choir, but we didn't really...
But you weren't in, like, the same choir.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. So, me and Luke are good now, though. He did tell me he hated me the night before I moved out. But it's fine.
It's sibling things.
Sibling things.
I feel like our relationship, though, I don't know if you think this. You can tell me your perspective. But I feel like our relationship as siblings... Even growing up was a lot different than I saw a lot of my friends' relationships with their siblings.
Yeah.
Like, we definitely fought. We were, we had things, but we enjoyed, I feel like, spending time together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we weren't as close as some people were with their siblings. Like, we're definitely a lot closer now.
Yeah.
I definitely think growing up we weren't not as close. Especially when, like, I was in high school.
Yeah.
I, like, feel like I didn't have a relationship with any of you.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I have a relationship, like a different relationship with all of you, but a good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, we weren't, like I said, I don't think we were necessarily we weren't, like, actively hating each other. We just didn't really want to invest time in relationships with each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it was just, we were so different as kids.
Yeah, we were super different as kids.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't really understand why we weren't friends. I just think it just wasn't the way that we grew up.
I know, we weren't, and I don't think we hated spending time as a family together.
No, definitely not.
I mean, most of my memories from my childhood are with our family.
Yeah, but I would say they're more with, like, our extended family. Like, I definitely feel like I had more of a relationship with, like, our cousins.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think now...
Oh, yeah.
Now that we're older, and I think now that, I mean, our youngest sibling is 17, almost 18, so I think now that we're all adults, too.
Oh, yeah, I feel like we have a lot more in common and a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, and we genuinely, I think, enjoy spending time with each other and
for sure.
make it a really big priority as a family to spend time with each other.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that we do that, because, I don't know. I love you guys.
I know, how cute. I know, we love each other.
If you can't tell, I wouldn't even come on this podcast.
If we had a terrible relationship, we would just be here hashing out all of our differences.
But, like, the thing is, we didn't have, like, a bad childhood. Like,
no, not at all.
I only have really good memories from being, well, what I remember aren't as good.
Maybe we all have severe trauma and we can just collectively every single, you can ask anyone in our family. Our mom is the only one that remembers anything. The rest of us have terrible memories, including our father.
I don't think our dad remembers the day we were born.
No, Dad told me he literally doesn't remember the day that I was born.
Yeah, I don't think he knows my birthday.
If we're being honest.
He does, because it's a week after his. That's the only reason he knows.
Yeah.
So.
He knows the time of year.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think he could say the specific day.
Maybe not. Dad might listen to this and be like, no way, are you kidding me?
No, last year he sent a video to me on my birthday when I was in the Tetons.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was golfing and was like, look. And I was like, oh, look, I'm on a hike.
How cute. Yeah, I think overall, it's kind of just neutral. Not anything crazy good. Yeah. Not anything crazy bad as far as sibling relationships growing up.
Same with, like, our parents, too, though. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I've definitely got a lot closer to Mom and Dad in the last 3 years.
Me too.
I ever have.
Yeah, me too. I think all of us collectively have gotten closer.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, COVID probably had a big part to play in that.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, at the very beginning of COVID, all 6 of us were living at home.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, because I was living in Provo at the time, at the end of 2019, and I just had this, like, feeling to go and move home, and I had no idea why. I moved home at the end of the semester in 2019, and then March of 2020, all 4 siblings were at home, because you and Lucas were...
Yeah, it was my senior year of high school.
Yeah, Sammy was a senior.
That's probably my biggest trauma from my childhood, if we're being honest.
Was COVID.
Was my senior year getting canceled.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think that helped for sure, because we were kind of forced to spend time together.
I think so, and that's definitely when I got closest with Mom and Dad, too.
Yeah.
Because I was in cosmetology school, and then I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it all just got shut down.
Yeah.
And then I was at home for another year after high school because of cosmetology school.
Yeah.
And all of my friends were gone, so I literally just hung out with our family, and I think that really had a big part to play.
Yeah, for sure. I think my relationship with our family changed when I went to college. The first semester I was gone, the first year I was gone, I really didn't talk to you guys at all.
No, I don't think I heard from you that whole year.
No, honestly, second semester of college, I didn't come home one time second semester.
Yeah.
And Dad had to call me one time and be like, you need to call your mother. Because I just had no contact. And I think it was a lot of my fault. And there just was a lot of stuff that Mom and Dad were dealing with at home. And with the rest of you guys. The other 3 kids were still in school. Tanner was a senior in high school.
Yeah,
and
I think I was in 8th grade.
Yeah. So they had everyone had a lot going on.
I was not doing great.
Yeah.
I think,
There's just a lot going on. And I think, do you remember thinking about that at all when I was gone? About me not being around? Do you remember that at all?
I think first semester, I probably didn't really notice because I was a little too focused on myself.
Yeah.
But like second semester, I think we went and visited you over spring break. And
during
that time, I was like, I actually never really hear from her.
Yeah, that's right, because you guys came down for Tanner's his mountain biking tournament.
And we came and hung out with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember during this time, like, viewing me any differently, or do you just... I just was kind of gone from the picture.
You kind of just were gone. Well, like I said, like, before that even, we didn't really have a relationship, so it kind of just was, like, the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really notice anything different, I don't think. I think you were just gone.
Yeah. Do you remember me, I'm not trying to make this all about me. I'm trying to make this about our relationship to see the progression from then to now. This was 8 years ago, 7 years ago too.
That's all crazy.
I know.
I can't even believe that.
I know. I'll be graduated from high school for 8 years, I think, in June.
3 years for me this year, which is insane.
Yeah. How about, and then, so I went to college, and then I went on a mission. I feel like I got nicer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
From my mission.
Oh, post-mission Abby, pre-mission Abby, insanely different.
Yeah.
I can't even, like, tell you.
What were the biggest differences?
Well, like, you actually talked to me.
Yeah.
I think that was, like, the biggest thing. I think, honestly, just before you left, I was just so young.
Yeah.
That, like, we just didn't have anything to
talk about. Yeah.
Like, you just were focused on being a teenager, which, I mean, I don't blame you for, because you, like, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why me and Lucas didn't have, like, a great relationship.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, it just, you were focused on being a teenager and then being in college, so it was just, like, yeah. I forgot what I was going to say, but pretty much that's it.
The biggest, I feel like I changed a lot for the good when I was on my mission. I remember being on my mission and feeling so homesick and just like wanting to be with my mom and dad and my siblings.
Yeah.
And you guys never really wrote me on my mission. So.
I didn't know you wanted me to.
I think my mom wrote me every single week.
Yeah.
Lucas wrote me every week when I was in the MTC, and then for a couple weeks into the mission, and then he stopped. I think Sam wrote me.
I think I wrote you twice.
And they were both for my birthday.
Probably.
And I think Dad wrote me like twice.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
No, Dad. I mean, I'm not like mad about it. It's just kind of funny.
Wait,
I was.
I want to see. No, sorry, I was trying to crack my knuckle and give you some ASMR.
It's alright. I think I just realized, like, being away from you guys, that I really missed you guys, and because I had been at school for a year and a half, I had only lived at home for that summer.
Yeah.
And even the semester before I went on my mission, I came home like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Getting ready, and I think that's where our relationship kind of started to change a little bit, where I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna miss these guys.
Yeah.
And then when I was on my mission, I was very homesick, and then I came home and I just wanted to spend time with you guys, and that's where I really feel like, for me, my perspective changed on my relationship with my family.
Yeah, it took me a minute. I think I didn't change my perspective until I literally graduated high school.
Yeah.
I was just so focused. I think at that point I was, like, so focused on, like, my friends and being in high school and, like, all the things I was doing.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't really care about my family right now.
Yeah.
And then once I graduated high school, I was like, actually,
cool.
I
like my family. We're pretty cool people. We are the cool people, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, we are.
We are the coolest family out there.
I would have to agree.
I think, I think, too, it helps probably when you have older siblings like me and Tanner who are coming back into the picture and wanting a relationship.
Yeah.
And because when I was the oldest, we were all just focused on our thing. I mean, when I'm still the oldest, but when I was young, when I was younger,
an older sibling. I'm actually the oldest now.
When I was younger, I didn't have any older sibling trying to like have a relationship with me.
Yeah.
And so I think that helped too, because me and Tanner were both, I think, at the same time wanting to come back and have a relationship with our family.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, obviously. We were all in the same house for a while.
Yeah.
Which was weird. So we hadn't all lived together. It had been like 5 years. It had been 5 years since all of us had lived together.
Yeah, and I was so upset.
Yeah, Sam was so mad that I came home.
I just want to hang out with my friends. Like, that's all I want to do. I just want to, like, enjoy the rest of my senior year and, like, be with my friends before we all go our separate ways.
Yeah.
But then eventually I was like, whatever, I'll be friends with my family.
Yeah, it kind of was forced friendship.
It was. Forced family
family fun.
I forgot about that.
Dad used...
No, it was Mom.
Oh, Mom.
Mom, this was like when she was trying to get us to be friends.
And this was at the beginning of 2020, before COVID.
It was like end of 2019, beginning of 2020.
Yes, when we all were living at home.
Yeah, her mom was like, we're going to do something every single month, and we're going to do a little activity together so that you guys can become friends. And she called it Forced Family Fun.
We did it for like 3 months.
Yeah, we did it at least until COVID hit.
And then COVID hit.
And then we were spending all our time together, so we didn't really need to be forced to do it anymore.
Yeah, it was kind of forced because it was...
Yeah, that's true.
COVID forced it, but we didn't force it ourselves.
That's fair.
But... then that's probably, you're right. That's probably where our relationship catapulted forward in a good way.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
And then now we've just been buddies.
Yeah.
Except, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then the next thing I wanted to talk about was probably the actual big sister trauma.
I saw it on your little outline. I
was like, my relationship, and I mentioned this on my first podcast about being in an abusive relationship, and obviously that was super hard on our family.
Definitely. I am one of the biggest empaths you will meet.
Yes. Our entire family is pretty empathetic.
Yeah. So seeing Abby go through that hard time was really hard for me personally, even though I really wasn't there for any of it because I was at school.
Yeah.
I was there for the beginning before I moved.
Yeah.
And then I moved to school and like I would just hear little snippets here and now.
Yeah.
But it was really hard. And like seeing Mom too having such a hard time that like I just was like, ow, my little heart is breaking.
What do you remember about the beginning of my relationship with my ex?
I remember when you first were going to Colorado to go see him, and you're like, don't tell Mom and Dad, but I'm going to see a boy.
Yeah.
And that was like the beginning. Well, because I was your little secret keeper.
You really were. Because I didn't tell Mom and Dad. I didn't want them to know that I was flying out to Colorado to visit a boy.
Yeah, I was your cute little secret keeper, and I think that put a lot of pressure on me because I was worried about like you not trusting me anymore.
Yeah.
And not telling me things.
Yeah.
So I just was like keeping all this to myself, which then eventually like you started sharing more things with Mom and Dad. But
yeah.
In the beginning for sure I knew a lot that Mom and Dad didn't.
Yeah.
Which was a little rough. But yeah, I remember when you first went to Colorado and you were like, this is the most emotionally mature guy I've ever met.
LOL at myself.
Like, my friends don't want me to go, but he like sent me this video.
Yeah.
And was like, look at him. And I was like, he's kind of ugly, but I didn't want to tell you that.
We'll get to that.
Anyways.
I showed you this video that he had sent my friends.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I kind of felt a little iffy about it. Because I was like, I mean, I was happy for you.
Yeah.
I definitely was happy for you at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was also kind of a little wary.
Yeah. That was kind of a common theme at the beginning of my relationship with him. Is so many people got bad vibes.
Yeah.
Everyone in my life except for me. I was I was blinded by the light.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think like you just would tell us about him. I don't think I even met him until right before you got engaged.
Nobody met him until right before we got engaged.
Yeah, well, you got engaged after 2.5 months.
I know. We got married after 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I just remember I think once you started talking to Dad about like getting married, I was like, I don't really like this guy. I don't know. I just was a little wary because I was like, that's kind of weird that you want to get married and he's literally getting deployed.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I was also like, what do I know? You're just an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah. And
in life. I guess I was 19 at that point, but.
At that point, too.
No, I was only 18.
Yeah, because you were still in high school. Or you had just graduated.
Just right
You had
after
just
high
graduated. School. Yeah. I feel like at that point.
No, it was right before I went to school, so I was 18. I was 19. I was 19.
Oh yeah, because it was
now.
Yes, it was after you were done with
cosmetology school.
Yes.
And I moved to SUU.
Yeah, because you're almost 21. Yeah. Yes.
I keep forgetting how old I am. It's kind of weird.
That's okay. Me too. I told somebody I was 28 the other day, and I'm only 26.
I feel a lot younger than I am.
So. Yeah, that's okay. Wow.
See what I mean?
So I think at that time too, when he met everybody, there wasn't a lot of things that I'd shared really with anybody.
No, nothing really.
And so people didn't really have any sort of strong opinions about him other than they didn't really know him and just felt like things were going pretty fast.
I think at that point, all I knew about him was that he was in the military and that he worked out and liked cars.
Yeah.
So,
probably. Do you remember the first time he came around?
I wasn't there the first time he was there. Or maybe it was another time.
When we had that dinner?
I was there at the dinner.
Yes.
I didn't like it. Well, I was like, oh, Abby is happy. Wink, wink. I was like, she seems happy, so I'm going to be happy for her.
Uh-huh.
I guess I just was trying to be supportive. That was, like, the biggest thing. I just wanted to be supportive of you and what you wanted.
And that was really, I think, how everybody in our family felt. Because at that time, like I said, nobody really knew what was going on, and I was just kind of blinded by, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think after you guys got engaged, when you came to our house after, and he was like, yeah, I just proposed to her in her bedroom. I was like, why? Why would you just not make it, like, a special thing? Like,
yeah.
And then he didn't want to take engagement pictures.
Yeah.
He was being all weird about that.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like, just take a picture with her. Like, you guys just got engaged. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think that really was, like, the downfall.
Yeah, the beginning of the long end. The beginning of the great, long, long end. Yeah.
And then the next thing I remember, because you didn't tell us you got married.
No, I didn't tell anybody that we had gotten married.
But we were on a trip in Glacier National Park, and
this was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, literally 2 weeks later, and it was like the last day of our trip, and you like he had broken up with you or whatever, like broken things off. And at that point, I was like, I hate this guy. Like,
yeah.
I was like, they're engaged. Like, he just got deployed, but I hate him.
Yeah.
That was, like, really when I started not liking him.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't know anything that was going on.
Yeah.
But I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah. And everybody knew at that, because I was a mess.
Yeah. Well, because we were with our whole family.
We were with our entire family in a cabin in Yellowstone at that point.
Yeah. So, I mean... So everyone didn't like him. I think that's when everyone was like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to tell you because we were just trying to be supportive. But I remember driving home with Danny and Kate because you were with Mom and Dad in the truck. And it was me and Danny and Kate because we literally drove home that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really hope that she just, like, doesn't get back together with him because, like, I don't like him anymore. Like, you don't just do that.
Yeah.
But then... One thing led to another.
Obviously, and we were already married at that point, but that's a whole other story.
But I didn't know that.
Nobody knew that.
So
Nobody knew at that point.
No one knew.
How do you feel like you saw me change after that?
You changed a lot. Like,
yeah.
I was really sad because I was like, I finally feel like I'm starting to get a relationship with you. And then all of a sudden, like, you wouldn't even talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, you were just always depressed and, like... Talking to Justin.
Probably pretty grumpy.
Very grumpy. Sorry, redacted.
It's okay.
Talking to redacted. And all this, and just like, I don't know, I just felt very weird about it, and I just had a really bad feeling. And I think at this point, Kenna had told us about his ex.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, buddy. I don't like this guy at all.
Yeah, Kenna is our brother's girlfriend, and Kenna has a friend who I now know. Her name's Nicole, and she'll probably be on the podcast eventually. We have a common ex. We're buddies now. And,
Common trauma.
Common trauma. Shared trauma.
Yeah, well, he was abusive towards her, too.
Yeah.
And told Kenna about it, because she was, like,
yeah.
worried.
And I just didn't believe anybody. I didn't believe anybody. Yeah. It took me quite some time to get over that and look around and take the blinders off. It took me a long time.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then, like, a week after that, or 2 weeks or something, you called me and you're like, you want to come get a tattoo with me? And I was like, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to go get a tattoo. And me and redacted.
You can say his name, it's okay.
Are going to go get matching tattoos. And I was like, what, of what? And you're like, I'm going to get his name. And I was like, Abby, don't do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's like, it'll be fun. And I was like, no, it's not fun. That's not fun. I was like, I told you, I was like, you could just get like matching symbols or something that like reminds you of each other.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you can't tell mom and dad. Like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, Abby, no. And then I texted you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm trying to be supportive, but I can't support you in this.
Yeah, which was good on you. Good boundaries.
What can I say? Because I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And I literally remember I called my friends.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I don't know what to do because you told me not to tell mom and dad. That was
Yeah.
another thing. And I was like, I feel like I should tell my parents because then they can try and... I was like, she's going to regret this. Like,
yeah.
I know she's going to regret it. But, like, I was like, I don't know what to do because if I tell mom and dad, then I'll, like, lose her trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried talking you out of it myself.
Yeah, which was not a fair place for me. Not a fair position for me to put you in, for sure.
Yeah. I won't disagree with that. But, yeah, I felt very stressed. I was like, why would you even think I would want to go with you?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was unfortunate. But then eventually I just, like, forgot about it. And was like, hopefully she just doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember anything specific about me at this time that... I'm trying to think of how I want to word this question. Do you remember anything about me at this time of being in this relationship that you felt like was like the scariest thing or something that really worried you the most?
I was really scared when you moved out of your apartment that you were like because we didn't live together because you were living in Salt Lake.
Yeah, I was living in Salt Lake at the time, in Sugar House.
I think the scariest thing was when he called me or texted me
Mm-hmm.
and was like, you need to call your parents and have them go over to Abby's house.
Yeah.
That was really scary because he was like, she's not in a good place.
Yeah.
And I think the times that I saw that happen, that just happened so many times, and every time it scared me really bad because I was really worried about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna cry, but I'm not.
No, it's okay.
I don't know. I was just really worried that you weren't okay.
Yeah, which I wasn't, but luckily Mom and Dad came to the rescue.
Yeah, well, I was really scared because then I tried calling you, and you weren't picking up, and, like, no one told me what was happening.
Yeah.
For the longest time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was right before you moved out.
Yeah.
And then hearing, like, what your roommate was saying about how he was so mean to you. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't really see that side.
No, not at all.
Home.
No, I didn't tell anybody. Yeah. The only reason she knew is because we lived together and she heard it.
Yeah. Yeah, because she would text Mom about it and be like, Justin's being so mean to Abby.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I was really worried about you.
Did you guys feel like there was anything you could have done for me at that point?
I don't know. I think at that point you were so deep in. You were just like, you had your mindset. And you were like, there's no way of me getting out of this.
Yeah.
I think you were just like stuck. And after you saying you were going to get a tattoo, I was like, oh boy. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It was really, I think, and just knowing, I think at that point is when we started to realize it was abusive.
Yeah.
Before that, it didn't seem, he kind of just seemed like he sucked.
Yeah, that he was just kind of a loser.
Just kind of a loser.
Yeah.
But at that point, we started to realize it was more abusive. And knowing about, like, abusive relationships is, like, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
And, like, you feel stuck.
Yeah.
So, I think we just kind of knew that. And Mom kept telling me, it just has to run its course. Like, there's nothing we can do right now.
Yeah.
She just has to figure it out for herself. Which is hard.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure.
I remember you FaceTime, us having a family meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and me literally yelling at you. Like, you just need to stop. Like,
yeah.
And you're just like, no, I'm, like, committed to this. And I was like, I felt helpless.
Yeah. I remember that family meeting, and I, at that point, kind of told everybody.
Yeah, that you were married.
That we were married. I told everybody that I had gotten the tattoo, which everyone was pretty pissed off at me. That was like, getting married, everyone was like, okay, that can get undone.
It was crazy because I was at school, so.
Yeah, and you were just in your dorm.
Yeah, I had to kick my roommate out and be like, I have to have this family meeting. And my apartment was close quarters.
Yeah.
So they could all hear me. I walked out.
Your poor roommate.
No, my poor roommate. I walked out to go fill up my water or something because I had been crying and I was dying of thirst.
Yeah.
And I walk out and they're all sitting there and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh."
I think it's good we can look back on this though and kind of laugh about it because it's been a while since that. But
it's been a year and a half.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years since
that. Married. Well, that family meeting was in September.
That's true. Yeah, that's been a year and a half since that happened.
Yeah.
And I remember from that meeting too, I think that was the first time I can remember in my life of our family being so open with each other.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That was definitely the beginning of us finally being open.
Yeah, I don't think we had ever collectively been as blunt with each other as we were in that family meeting.
No, one thing I remember is we didn't ever share our feelings.
Never.
Shared how we felt.
Yeah.
I still have a hard time opening up about what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's definitely gotten better.
Yeah.
But I think that was definitely the beginning of us finally being able to share how we felt and sharing our feelings. For
yeah,
sure.
I think so. And I think everyone was probably, from my perspective, everyone was probably just in a rock bottom kind of situation where you guys probably felt if we don't say this to her, I think you guys were all so worried about me at that point that it was you didn't care what you didn't want to hold back at all. And you weren't.
Didn't.
No, you did not. I remember that meeting. That meeting was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
We talked for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And
we all tried having an open mind, but
yeah,
it just was not working out.
looking back at that conversation though, I feel it really was a good conversation.
Definitely.
It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't a good conversation as far as what we were talking about, but I think it was
a good catalyst.
A good catalyst for the future of
sure.
our family relationships.
Definitely.
Even then, though, after that, and I remember Kenna saying at the end of that, she was like, well, my family would never have a conversation like this, so I feel that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a lot of families never have to have that conversation.
No, they don't ever have to have that conversation.
We've had a lot of tough conversations since then, though.
We have had a lot of tough conversations since then.
And I think that was a really big catalyst.
Yeah.
And I think that helped us be able to have those tough conversations.
I think so, too. That's something I've thought about with our family dynamic since that time, since getting out of that relationship, that as much as it was awful, that it really, I feel turned over a new leaf for us as a family, where I think that really catapulted us into a new level of relationships.
Definitely. I think it's very interesting how different our relationship with each other
even from 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I know. So as much as it sucks that had to happen, I think there are some good things that came out of it.
Definitely. I think I feel I can actually talk to mom and dad about things.
Yeah, I know.
You know? Before, I was so close. I don't think you guys knew anything about me, if
no,
we're being honest.
I know you guys didn't. You and I are very, very similar in that way. Tanner and Lucas are more of an open book. Yeah. I guess more so Tanner than Lucas, but Lucas is still getting there. He's still a teenager.
Yeah.
But Tanner is just an open book. You can sit and he will tell you everything and anything.
Yeah.
And you and I I think are similar in the way that we are very closed off, and it takes us a long time to build up the relationship to where we can be so open with someone.
I mean, I've been friends. I was thinking about this morning. I've been friends with my friends from high school, my two best friends, went to breakfast with them this morning. We've been friends for 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it took forever to finally be like, I can tell these people anything. And
Yeah.
I mean, I probably have, like, the closest relationship with them because,
Yeah.
like, I tell them pretty much everything. I've gotten better. I think, like, my friends, it's easier.
Yeah.
Because there's not necessarily, not necessarily as much of, like, a connection to me. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Where, like,
No, there's not as much on the line with your friends as there is with your family.
Yeah.
In a different, like, not that your friendships aren't important, but, like, I think you look at your family relationships and you realize that there is a lifetime ahead and you don't really want to do anything to screw that up.
Yeah.
I think that's how I felt.
I was always just so scared to tell
Yeah.
mom or especially mom things. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, telling mom things is telling dad things, technically. So.
Yeah. Mom probably doesn't
There
hold
are
anything
no
back from
secrets
dad.
No, there literally are not.
There literally are not,
Anything
which
I
is
tell
great.
Mom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but
Yeah.
it's funny. I'll get texts from dad about things, and I'll be like, how'd you know that?
How'd you know? How'd you know that, Dad? It's because Mom is the
Yeah.
best.
Mom is an open book.
Yes, Mom and Tanner are very much
open
like that.
books.
Yes, which we love.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that was the catalyst, because I feel like I can share things with, like, tell people things now. Like,
Yeah.
about, I never tell mom about, like, boys I liked in high school.
Oh, never.
Or
Me neither.
even, like, that year after, I would never tell her anything. And now I literally tell her, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in love with this boy.
Yeah. I know. Mom literally knew nothing about my life. Mom and Dad knew nothing. And we've had that conversation. And I'm sure I'll have Mom and Dad on the podcast soon. We'll talk about this. But
Yeah.
they told me, like, in high school, they were like, you're like a stranger. We literally we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because I would refuse to talk to them.
I feel like I was the same way, too.
Yeah.
I don't think I was as much.
No, I think you had a little bit better of a relationship with Mom and Dad than I did.
Yeah. But it definitely, like, I don't know. And I have a better relationship with them at this point in my life than you did when you were at
When
the
I
same
was your
point.
age, yeah. When I was 20, I had kind of a similar relationship. You definitely have a way better relationship with them than I did at your age.
For sure.
And now my relationship with them is great.
Yeah. But we all have a good relationship with them.
We all have a
so-
great relationship with them now. And I think it comes from us having to have those tough conversations about
Definitely.
abuse. And going forward, I mean, since being out, it's been a year since I was out of that relationship.
Which is crazy.
I know, it's been like a year. How do you feel like you've seen our relationship change since then?
Honestly, it's been, like, the most drastic change. I remember you came to the Tetons right after you broke up with him.
Yeah.
With our family. Like, officially ended it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you were really sad at that time because obviously
Yeah.
it was a hard thing to do.
I was like I remember I was so emotionally drained at that point. I literally could not stay awake.
Yeah, you were very, very tired.
Yeah, I was sad and tired,
Yeah.
and I'd been sick I'd had to take a whole month off of work because I had a migraine that lasted 2 weeks, and I had the flu because the abuse had just gotten so bad at that point, my body had just shut down. And then I think when I got to the Tetons, it was just all that emotional release.
Yes.
I was just so tired.
Yeah, but I think it was good for you to, like, get away.
Agreed, yeah. It was great.
It was great. But I do remember you coming, and I was a little upset at first because you had been, like, so distant.
Yeah.
And, like, we didn't really have a good relationship at that point because
No.
I was just mad at you.
Yeah.
I was just upset. And
Which was
I mean,
understandable.
Which is unfair for me, though, because obviously I knew you were in a bad place.
I know, but also I had put you guys through a lot, so I think it was fair that, and the times that we had spent together, I was so,
you were so distant.
I was so distant. I think I had just retreated so far into myself at that point, like, and it's not like I didn't want to have a relationship with you guys.
It was just so hard.
It was just hard, and because that relationship with my ex got in the way, and he would control very much what I did and who I talked to, how much time I spent with you guys, you know.
Yeah, and so I was like, when you first showed up, because it was, Mom, you surprised me that you were coming. Like,
Yes.
I didn't know you were coming until you pulled up. And at first I was like, oh, like, this is going to kind of suck. But I didn't know you had broken up with Justin at that point.
Yeah, well, it had just happened, like, literally 2 days
Yeah.
before that. Maybe even a day. And then Mom and Dad were like, we're not, because Dad was going out of town.
Oh, yeah.
And Mom was coming up to the Tetons, and Mom's like, you cannot be by yourself right now.
You have to be
yes.
No service.
Yes, like, you have to come because we literally cannot leave you by yourself.
Yeah. And then Mom told me that you had broken up, and I was like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But I was also kind of like, really?
Yeah, well, because I had said that before.
Yeah. And Mom was like, no, it's like for real this time. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I guess we'll see. And then after that, like, it was kind of still weird when you were there. But then you went home. And after that, like, you started calling me and, like, talking to me and, like, reaching out. And and then, like, you didn't get back together. And I remember telling my friends that I felt like I was finally getting you back.
Oh, that's gonna make me cry.
I'm gonna cry too.
Aw, that's so sweet.
But I remember, like, telling my friends, I was like, I feel like I'm finally getting my sister back. And
Oh,
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
But yeah, it was. I was really happy.
Yeah.
Needless to say, and like I felt really bad for you because I knew it was gonna be a hard road.
Yeah.
But I was happy you were finally like feeling like yourself again.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, because you were in the Tetons that whole summer, so you were kind of far removed from, like, the day-to-day kind of recovery.
Definitely. But you definitely were, like, reaching out more, which, like, was a change for sure.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember we were talking about boys or something. You called me, and I was talking about these boys, and you're like, yeah. And we were just, like, having a good time and goofing off, and I was like, we haven't done that in a long time. So, yeah, it was crazy.
And I remember the first date that I went on, like, after I had ended things. It had been a couple of months at that point before I went on a date. But I kept calling you about it because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was so scared. And I was like, what do I text him back? Like, and I called you like 5 times in one day. Because I had no idea what to do.
And I was like, why are you asking me?
You're like, I have no idea.
Know anything.
I know.
But
we were both very, it was good though. We were kind of, I think, settling in more to the relationship we have now. Which,
it's crazy how much our relationship has changed in the past year.
In the past year,
We're closer than we've ever been.
We are definitely closer than we've ever been. I would say we're, like, really good friends at this point.
I would agree.
And I think we have we've both made an effort to reach out to each other over the past year.
Definitely.
And especially because Sammy goes to SUU, which is where I went before my mission. So we have that in common. Yeah. And that's fun to talk about.
And I don't know. I like calling you.
Aw, I like calling you too. And someday I'll get an iPhone again so we can FaceTime.
Yeah.
Not just
That's her toxic trait, is having an Android. I want to know that she is an Android girl. And it's probably the worst thing about her.
Which at this point is the greatest compliment of my life. That me owning an Android is the worst thing about me.
I wouldn't have said the same thing last time.
No, we would have had this conversation this time last year. No.
It would have been a lot worse.
Oh, Lucas told me that the worst thing about me is that I reorganized Mom and Dad's kitchen.
That too. TBH. I still don't know where anything is.
Which that's been like 2 years since I reorganized the kitchen. It's been 2 years.
No way.
Yeah.
No, because it was when I was at school.
Okay, so it's been like a year and a half. Yeah. Almost 2 years.
And I still don't know where anything is because I've not lived out.
No. Since then. Lucas said that's the worst thing I've ever done is reorganize the kitchen.
Reorganize the kitchen. Yeah.
Which
I won't lie.
Also, I mean, a good compliment at this point.
Yeah, that was pretty traumatizing. TBH.
Yeah, TBH. Yeah, I think with our relationship, it's going to continue to get better.
I agree.
And because we're both adults, we're in more similar stages of life than we've ever been.
Yeah, for sure.
And are there things that you want going forward in our relationship?
I don't know. I feel like we're in a really good spot right now.
Yeah.
I think we like make an effort to see each other.
Yes.
And like communicate with each other, which is different than we've ever had.
I agree. We can spend, we just went to Taylor Swift a couple of weeks ago together.
Didn't even fight.
No.
I think maybe I got mad at you.
On their way home. Yes.
I'm going to need you to stop talking to me.
We had been, in Sammy's defense, we had been together for, 48 hours straight. At that point, we were together from Thursday night to Saturday night straight.
Yeah.
And
I was just drained.
Sammy's a major introvert. I'm not. I'm an extrovert.
Oh, and I was upset because the whole car.
Because my car had broken down. That was a whole other thing. And we were on our way back we were driving up north from Taylor Swift, and we were in like Orem. And Sam goes, Abby, I love you, but I cannot have another conversation with you. I cannot talk to you at all anymore.
I was just so done.
She was so drained.
I had already cried in the car.
I know.
With a bloody nose. Like,
it was
having a good time.
It was a whole thing. It made me laugh so hard, though. Yeah. That's one of our big differences. Is Sammy's Sammy's a lot more of an introvert than I am.
Definitely.
But
I'm a lot more shy than you are.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I have a hard time talking to people.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Which is fine. It takes me a minute, but
I
get there.
And that's fine. But I think going forward with our relationship, I think the trajectory we're at is good. Sammy's about to go away for the summer again, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Sorry.
She's going to be everyone, especially me.
And
Emma. Her friends, I guess, are also sad. Shout out to
Emma, if you're listening, I'll miss you.
She won't miss me, though.
I mean, I'll miss you, obviously.
I know, I'm kidding.
But I just haven't seen Emma.
I know, her bestie just got home from her mission, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going forward, though, our relationship is going to continue to get better, and I'm glad that we have been able to get to a place where we can even have this conversation.
Yeah.
And, some of these things we've talked about before.
For sure. But I think it's good.
I think it's good, too. I think it's good that we can have an open conversation. I think that speaks a lot to the relationship that we're at right now.
Yeah, there's no way we could have had this conversation even like 3 years ago.
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. I think I have changed more in the last 3 years than in my whole entire life.
Same. I've changed more in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Than I have ever.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I am only 21, almost 21, but
yeah,
still, and like the growth and the change that I've had, I'm a completely different person. Mm-hmm. Truly, but I think we both are. Yeah, I think COVID plus abuse really does a number on your psyche. It really does. I think it really messes you up. Maybe just a little bit. I know, but yeah, we're in a good place, and thanks for coming on the podcast. This has been fun. We're gonna go to Target now. We are gonna go to Target. Any last words? My last word is in fact slay. Slay. I haven't said this whole podcast. Wow. I feel a little weird about it. I'm so proud of you. Thank you all for listening to another podcast. I'm so happy that you guys are here and listening, and hopefully we'll continue to have some really great conversations. Thank you, Sammy, for coming on. Oh, of course. If you guys want me back, let me know. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? Oh, sure. I'm not going to tell you my TikTok because it's embarrassing. But where's your social media, Sammy? Where can they find you? My Instagram is Hodgson Sammy. Go follow me. I'm going to be posting a lot about Alaska if you want to see. Yeah, she's going to be having epic adventures. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know. My Facebook is the same as my Instagram, so. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, don't forget to give this a like, subscribe, I don't know, share, share with your friends, all the things that everyone says. Leave a comment on if you love me.
on if you love Sammy, and let us know if you want her back and what we should talk about next time.
Yeah, give us a suggestion. I feel like we should talk about like Taylor Swift or something.
Oh yeah, we can do a whole podcast about Taylor Swift.
Please.
Yes.
I could talk about Taylor Swift for hours.
We could definitely talk about Taylor Swift for hours.
Let us know.
Let us know. Thank you all. And as always, thank you to Tanner Johnson for producing the intro music. Thank you all for listening. Hope you have an amazing week. Love you so much.
Bye.